Before you watch this video, please go and play the Complex, found footage. It's completely free, only about an hour long, and definitely will not kill you. The Complex, found footage is a realistic walking simulator set in the backrooms, which if you somehow don't know about, is a fabled place you go if you rub the floor too hard or something, and end up breaking the rules of reality as a result. Pretty crazy stuff. During my entire playthrough of this game, I was totally expecting a monster to end up chasing me, but it never did. This was crazy to me because despite that, it was a very, very effective horror game. So basically, when you start up the game, the main menu is a TV type thing with the play button replaced with insert tape, which is pretty creative, but kinda weird this guy put games from 30 years in the future on a tape. When you start the game your character falls into the backrooms, or the complex as this game calls it. Most of this section is just walking around, while creepy ambience plays in the background. You do actually wander through a couple different areas, like this. And this. Very cool. The first weird area you actually find is this blank, white room. I have no clue what this means, because it literally goes nowhere, but I guess it sets the idea of what you'll be doing in this game. After a few minutes of walking and seeing yellow, which I swear is actually exciting, you see these multicolored lights. At first I thought this signified a puzzle, but that'd be stupid as hell in a game like this. The pink light actually leads to this room full of chairs. There's a sign next to them that says, I wouldn't anyway because I wouldn't want to upset whatever eldritch monster set them up like this. This pink column scared the shit out of me because it was a bit bigger at the top. I'm really not sure what my logic was there, but regardless another clothes change was required. After another few minutes of walking, there's this tape on the floor. If you've watched those backrooms videos like me, you know these lead to safety. Oh. That part made me sad because I thought I'd get some sense of direction, but apparently not. After a few minutes of walking these chairs confront you menacingly. I personally completely ignored them. If you didn't know, these chairs are a reference to the fact that chairs exist, and not just anywhere, but in this game. Very cool. Encasing the chairs are these pillars, which are completely boring and dumb, compared to these chairs. After a few minutes of traveling, this checkered floor and benches randomly appear, with a glowy thing that clearly says. I'll get back to you on that one. The glowy thing only adds to the electric noises, which were already annoying, but in this game's case adds to the experience I think. The checkered floor turns into a giant staircase, which I totally wasn't expecting because after playing this game for 15 minutes I forgot what up and down was. After descending the staircase, my two choices of direction were, more yellow walls, or something actually new. So of course I chose the yellow wall. No, of course not, I'm not stupid. These two fake doors greeted me along this slanted corridor. And of course I ignored them because there's no open mechanic in this game. The corridor led to more yellow walls, which I was obviously more than happy about. I found these wooden triangles a bit later, which made me feel even shorter than I already was, with their towering height. After I got over that, I kept going and found a weirdly shaped corridor. Most people wouldn't go through this for their own safety, but there was blue lighting, and that persuaded me on its own. These aren't blue. I was looking for a place to use the zoom feature, so when I saw this new releases sign, I had to zoom right up to it even though I could read it perfectly fine. This library-looking place was very nice to look at, but little did I know it had no fucking books. What kind of library has no books? Of course after some dazed walking, I opened my eyes and found myself in hot tub land. This made me so very happy, because I could finally drown myself to death like I'd wanted to. This place was connected to a weird amalgamation of different floor types, and I knew I had to pick one theme to go along with. So I chose the yellow walls. Going under this wall after I finally figured out how to crouch. I encountered this bright red light, which I was sure signified a boss battle. After walking past, however, it was just my imagination. Very sad. I found this sign that described where I'd be going, which I promptly zoomed directly into, because why the hell not? This area made me unhappy because despite my attempts to drown myself, these invisible walls were all blocking me. Very bad game design. In this area you pass lots of different colored lighting, like this blue one, and this green one. I'm trying really hard to find something interesting to talk about here. Oh yeah, you also pass this yellow. Oh god damn it, after a little more walking you end up in an elevator, which kinda becomes the goal in this game. To get to the elevator. I guess it leads to other floors or something. Well, obviously it's a fucking elevator, what else is it gonna do? This elevator leads to even more water that doesn't let you drown, but that's fine because at least it's not more yellow walls. This water section lasts a very long time. You basically just walk through water and tiles until you reach another elevator. This section basically just serves as suspense before the next, incredibly thrilling area. So you end up in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and this is where it gets good. After getting to the main dining area, you might notice that the show stage is completely missing. This is actually a stylistic choice that symbolizes the fact you're not actually in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria and you're still in the complex. This realization made me cry profusely before hibernating for 2 or 3 months. Luckily the game reintroduces the warm, comforting arms of the elevator. However, just when you're ready to be shipped to another nonsensical building, this happens. This part is absolute genius, because at this point the game expects you to think it's just gonna be walking with ambience, so when it actually tries to scare you it works tremendously. When the elevator opened back up I was expecting to have to go back out into the same area, but luckily it didn't go in that direction. And off to another land I went. During the ride I was thinking, what creative yet unsettling area will I be shipped to next? Now you may be thinking, why would they bring you back to that place? That's a little lazy. That's where I disagree. At this point I knew shit was about to go down, because of the shit that just went down moments before. The first sign was this weird wall, which was here for literally no reason. This surprised me because never before had I seen such a terribly articulated room. The designers should be ashamed. Up until this point the game was accompanied by weird breathing noises that slowly got louder and louder. But once I entered this circus-looking room, it all stopped. I assumed those noises were my character breathing, and they were choking to death at this moment. Of course there was nothing I could do about that, so I just continued on. At this section, you begin to hear beeping noises. The first time this happened, I fell off my chair and suffered multiple fractures. Luckily, I'm a fucking parasite and healed instantly, then continued on my journey to drown myself. The beeping gets loudest once you get close to the elevator, which is great game design because it's just when you think something might happen to you. At least I think it's good game design. The last 5 games I played ended up with a 20 on IMDb even though I thought they were good games. After escaping the discolored yellow place once again, you enter a stone place. This part is groundbreaking because never before has the game made you duck under an object instead of a straight one. Once I entered this neighborhood with a red beacon over it, I immediately felt a sense of tranquility. There was something about the sound of crickets that comforted me, knowing there was other life there with me. Or maybe I'm just insane, I don't know. Entering the 2 houses on the side seemed completely optional, but of course I went in anyway. On entering the first house, I found chairs, and terrifying sound effects. Just listen to this. After hearing that, I immediately fucked off for my own safety, and then promptly entered the second one with no regard for what just happened. The second house contained a radio. That's right. A radio. I'm honestly lucky I escaped with my life. Of course, at the end of the street was another all too familiar elevator. I stepped in, to see what awaited me next. And it better not be more fucking yellow wall. Exiting the elevator, my jaw dropped. I was in a giant snowy field, with an isolated house right in the middle. This part is just so cool to me, because after wandering through corridor after corridor for so long, to see something like this just made me happy. I could tell this was almost the end, so I looked up at the stars, savoring every moment. Then I immediately ran towards the house to find that damn elevator before something murdered me. There were 3 houses, each one small and covered in snow. Entering each one I could tell it was lived in, after finding boots and a bag had been left here. Then, I found it. The last elevator. I stepped in, ready to be taken out of this mess, when this happened. This part is so perfect. You expect another area to go into, but the floor is raised up, immediately showing you something is wrong. And you're sliding down slowly. Then the room fills with otherworldly noises as you plummet to your doom. This game is amazing in my opinion. It shows the power of effective ambience, and took advantage of the mind's ability to make up threats. It's definitely worth a play if you have the means. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a comment. I'll be making a video on the newer complex game next, which was kinda the main reason I made this one, so stay tuned for that. Goodbye.